1985.
Wrong camera, but it's okay.
Hello and welcome to the 1985 FM podcast. It's March 5th, 2013. I'm your host, Randy LaGiudice, and with me, you've already met him, Brian Jensen.
Hey, everybody.
And also joining us, Nathan, the Machine Mayor.
What's up?
All right, guys, how we doing this week?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
We're getting up there. I think this is episode 29.
Yes. Yes, it is
Oh,
episode
my
29.
gosh. Yeah.
Headed towards
it's-
the big 3-0.
Yeah, it's getting there, man. We're going to have a blowout. All right, let's get into the news, guys. Starting off with news, we got PS Vita sales are up. During a press conference for the upcoming PS3 title, One Piece Pirate Warriors 2, Sony Computer Entertainment Japan president Hiroshi Kawano spoke briefly about PS Vita's current sales in the Japanese market. Kawano claims Sony's handheld system has seen a 400% increase in Japan's sales since the price drop 2 weeks ago. No official numbers have been released for the unit, but if Kawano's claims are indeed accurate, PS Vita's numbers should be roughly around 45,000 units per week. After the initial price drop, Sony president of Worldwide Studios, Shuhei Yoshida, was asked whether the price drop would be coming to North America, simply stating, "No, it will not," end quote. Maybe, just maybe, Sony is intending to use the Japanese as a test market, weighing the demand for a PS Vita price drop worldwide. So yeah, I mean, they were only at about 11,000 a couple weeks ago, so if the numbers are correct, it's around like 45,000, which is still pretty small number.
Yeah, at this rate, they'll outsell the PSP.
Yeah, right? I mean, to kind of put it into perspective, yeah, they're outselling a system that was like 8 years behind it. But,
Well, it wasn't just a price drop. Sony had their version of Nintendo Direct, the Vita Heaven online newscast, and they announced a bunch of games that are more or less kind of clones of the Monster Hunter franchise in a lot of ways, and that sort of coincided with the price drop and the launch of PlayStation Plus over there, and some various things just all together kind of contributed to this. So I don't know if saying it's all due to the price drop is being quite accurate, but
well, given
hey.
that if the 45,000 units is true, do you think that that's even a good number considering the price drop, the titles, the PS4 news, or would you expect higher numbers, especially from Japan?
Well, given if this were like preschool, we would be congratulating the Vita for blowing past its original sales numbers, regardless of if it's actually good in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, obviously this is a huge improvement. Hopefully it's a sign of momentum picking up for the system over there. Certainly the Vita's main hope for success was in Japan, where handhelds are obviously a big deal.
And given the success of this price drop, you would think that even though they're saying it's not coming to North America or Europe, that they have to be considering the possibility of a price drop sometime soon everywhere else. I mean, it's hard if the numbers is good and they're as excited about them as they seem to be saying, then why wouldn't they bring it? I mean, it's like what we talk about with the Steam thing. Why sell three consoles at the regular price when you can sell 10 at a discounted price?
That would be logical. The thing is, I'm not sure how effective a price drop would be in the States, just because I don't feel that the demand for the system is there in the first place. It's not that people are looking at the price and saying, oh, I want it, but some people, sure, but I just don't. I feel like the main problem with the system is that the library games available for it, as I was just saying, in Japan, they showed a bunch of games that would very much appeal to that market, whereas over here, they don't have quite that selection. So it's price is just part of the problem here in North America.
The price drop would have to coincide with some release to make it appealing enough to purchase. But I mean, just the idea of them saying like, no, it's not going to happen. I just don't think that's likely. I think.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of companies, especially like Nintendo and Sony, will lie to your face if they're not ready to announce something. If they don't want to let the cat out of the bag, they will say something completely opposite of what they're thinking. PS4 announcement. So, it's who really knows what's going on in their heads.
All right. Well, I'm sure you're eager to have another like 3 people buy a PS Vita, so you're not alone in the world.
Hey, I'm spreading the gospel truth about the system. It's a good handheld, guys. It really, really is.
Would
I'm
you
not
pay
lying.
another $250 for it?
Would this mustache lie to you?
Fair enough. All right, moving on. We have Assassin's Creed 4 officially announced.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. Well,
where
what
do
was
you
some of
start?
the details they were saying about it?
Some of the details. Let's see. There's going to be the one that really sticks out in my head is that 40% of the game Ubisoft is saying will be taking place in naval combat or naval
Well, if
exploration.
it's as cool as this FMV sequence, then I'm all for it. It's gonna look
Yeah.
just like that, I'm sure.
And another thing they've been saying in a lot of like their press talk is that you imagine if HBO did a Caribbean show. Like this is the kind of approach they want to go. They want to get away from like the Kraken, all those kind of like the mysticism and all that kind of stuff. They want to just have like this real world like
So
gritty version.
this is a low budget Pirates of the Caribbean. Right? We don't have
Exactly,
the budget
yeah,
for
yeah.
giant foam tentacles, so we have to scale things down. And
Right, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, other than that, we talked about this last week. I mean, I feel like we have to mention it because they did announce it now, but there's really, I'm sure there'll be something interesting to see at the time that the game comes, but
well,
I
you know
think
what? It could be good.
Oh, it could very well be good. It could be very well, whatever. All right. Wow, the news this week, I mean, aside from the PS Vita, it's got a certain
A little
tone.
bit slow. Like there was, I'm gonna mention it, even though it's not really news. It ended up not being news, but there was the threat that the Dead Space series was going to be dead.
Yeah, last night actually the news broke. I forget it's Gamma something, and not Gamma Sutra, but a small indie site broke the news that EA had canceled further development on Dead Space 4, which was in the works, due to the really lackluster numbers that Dead Space 3 was producing. It came out that it wasn't actually the case, but most interesting to me that came out of that news was talk about how EA as the publisher got in such the way of like changing the game was made to facilitate monetization. Like
Yeah,
the
it could-
idea of going with a generalized ammo was to make the microtransactions actually work.
Any good rumor or even like fake rumor has some root in truth. I'm sure they're just taking these aspects of the changes in the gameplay and expanding it into some sort of a conspiracy or something, and
Right.
just to make a good story.
Well, EA,
It did seem kind of shocking. Like, wow, this is like, what was it, like a month after the game, or like 2 months after the game came out?
yeah,
And
it seems like it's too soon, I think, to really know where this game. I mean, I'm sure that the one big thing to keep in mind though is the initial sales for Dead Space 3 were 26.6% below Dead Space 2, and they put a lot of effort into making this game have a lot larger appeal than the previous one did. So it seems like, to some extent, that was in vain.
I mean, like, honestly, dumbing things down has been proven so many times in the past. It's just not the answer, especially when you have a entrenched franchise. Of course, this is one of the reasons why I thought the Spyro Skylanders stuff would fail. It was like, well, this has nothing to do with what fans like about the series. But of course, I was wrong about that in grand fashion. But it's just trying to broaden the appeal of things. So often backfires, especially if it's in compromising the gameplay to do it.
And we've seen this happen so much in the last year, especially with horror franchises. Resident Evil 6 is a perfect example of a game that, I mean, it's moved steadily away from what its roots were over the years, but the last one that was so poorly received is essentially an action game and so far removed from what made that game actually popular that it makes you kind of wonder, like, what they hope to achieve, like destroying, like killing what the hardcore fans actually enjoy about these things, and then not even really delivering on the mainstream promise in the end.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
hopefully people are getting the message that it's not going to work as well as they see.
I mean, just look at the fact that, like, Resident Evil Revelations for the 3DS was like the total opposite, like actually kind of getting back into sort of the survival horror Resident Evil 4 roots, and ended up being this huge critical darling. The fans loved it. So, Capcom, not wanting to waste any potential dime they might earn, is, taking it, blowing it up on a big screen. Not porting it to the
I'm
Vita,
excited
though.
about that. That should be. Oh, yeah, they aren't porting it to the Vita.
No.
That's strange. You would think that they would, since they're going for like freaking cash grab to the
They came up
extreme
with
so
some
far.
bogus excuse. I don't even remember it, but I trust me, it was bullshit. There was some deal signed with Nintendo or something. They got handheld exclusive rights or whatever. But it's going to be on every other console. It's going to be on the 360 and the PS3. But Vita guys, sorry.
And, well, yeah. So basically, just to get back on topic, it was debuffed. It's not actually going to happen, and it would be kind of strange considering how much effort they put into that franchise, with how much they've kind of focused on like synergizing all these different kind of ways of getting Dead Space to the masses through comic books, through the App Store, games. So,
I feel like there was a pretty big marketing push for the game. I mean, certainly, not a lot of games even attempt television advertising anymore. So that was, they did that, and I don't know. I mean, could be just be timing, honestly.
perhaps. All right, let's move on. I think we talked about it. We got it out of our system. Read our next topic here. This one should be fun for everyone.
All right. So, have you seen that new console from Fisher-Price?
Oh, say what?
Yes. Nintendo is releasing this tiny red box called the Wii Mini.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one. Yeah, it's made out of Play-Doh.
Right. Correct. Fun to play with, not to eat. Well, maybe not that fun to play with. Honestly, so here's the crux of the news. 74%, according to a poll on Voucher Codes Pro, a site based in the UK, surveying over 1,000 gamers, found that they don't see the point of the system. And like 49% see it as a rehash of old technology. 61% said they won't even buy it. So honestly, is anyone surprised? Let's go over the facts here. It's not actually much smaller than the original.
But wait a minute. But